it to YouTube channel. And I was curious, sometimes there are things that I was like, oh gosh, I had a few minutes to get back and look at something, but I just didn't know where to look. Share. Oops.
Okay, perfect. All right, you're good. No, so much. That's your phone. Pops on Zoom, they just we go live, right?
Yeah, it'll be good to go.
Awesome. I just want to make sure I didn't miss out on anybody. If someone pops up, it's that just me. And like I said, since it is just y'all, I know if there's someone on Zoom, if they have questions, more than welcome to ask. But it's just showing me on the little.
Okay,
But are both of y'all familiar kind of with the home screen, where to find things in that nature? So we will just jump in immediately to
you do portrait or square?
I did square. Oh. It really is personal preference, whatever you would prefer. I think most of the content that's already pre-populated on Canva in terms of templates is more towards that original square size instead of the portrait size. You're gonna have more options while they're still trying to figure out the resizing of all of that with the just regular square posts. So since y'all are familiar with Canva, obviously when you go in, you've got this little sidebar over here. Your design is where you can look up those templates. I'm just gonna look up holiday. And this is where you're gonna find a bunch of already pre-made stuff that is good and easy and ready to go, just needs a couple tweaks. So in terms of like the holiday content that you're posting, love this one. I think it's super cute, super simple. Got some great font, you have some elements already in there. You love Peace of Joy, obviously. You're not the Millers, so you can change to from whomever. And this is where we go into kind of the branding aspect. So we found a template that we like, think is cute. Maybe this doesn't work for you. You can do this one or a number. It'll show you a number of different templates that are already pre-made that kind of match that vibe-ish that you had originally clicked on. So just for this one, obviously not Millers. But anyway, so this is where we would go into elements if you wanted to change anything. Say for this one, you wanted to add off the top of my head, like Christmas house. I know it's random, but like just to see what it populates for you. You can look and see different stickers. You can look at different photos. Maybe you wanted to change out the background with something a little bit different, but you loved the text and you didn't want to change all of it. You can just plug and play just like that. So say you wanted to use that instead or this instead, but then you can't read anything, but y'all get the point. But just for this one, I'm going to use this exact template. And you can also even look at videos. Say you wanted to do moving content. They have like a Christmassy holiday content like already plugged in here. So if you wanted to send like a little video to your clients, that's a really cool one. It's just ready to go. Especially on stories, because moving content on stories gets more views than just static posts. This would be a great one to change into a different size. Just really quick, we're just going to use this as an example. Do y'all have a pro account on Canva?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so this little button up here called the magic switch. This is how you can take content that you've made already and change it into a different size, a different format. So this is for an Instagram post. So what you're going to do is go down to social media and you're going to click on Instagram story, which is this little button right here. You'll just make sure you click on it. You're going to hit this continue button. It'll say copy and resize. Because we want to keep the original post, if you wanted to completely change the original post, you would say resize this design, but we don't want to resize this design. We want to create a separate design with the same characteristics, but in a different format. So you'll say copy and resize. So that way it'll create another one for you. So we're gonna open our story and automatically it keeps everything the same. It just changes that format. So you may need to go in and move the elements, move your text and stuff like that. But it keeps the video and everything that we wanted because we want to use this for a story instead of a static post. So that way, it's just an easy way for you to go ahead and mass create that content right then and there. So that way, when you're thinking about it, it's open another window. You can just hop back to the original window you were on and go back to creating this because you know you've already started it on a separate tab. And that's just kind of my thought process on it. When I'm creating content, I like to create it in 3 different formats, which is the Instagram portrait, the regular square, and then, and then a story post for both Instagram and Facebook. But that way I know I'm creating everything right then and there, so I don't forget about it when I'm going to post it 3 or 4 days later or whatever that looks like. Just something to notate because in this industry, we're always in go, go, go mode. So when you're able to sit down and actually take care of these kinds of things, it's better to just knock them out and know you've already started it than only focus on one and then not start the others and just completely forget about them. But for this one, since it is just a regular Instagram post, we are going to use a static image. If you were to be posting like a reel or something on Facebook, not Facebook, on TikTok, you'd want to look at more of that video content, that moving content to keep those viewers engaged. So obviously text, since y'all are familiar with Canva, I'll just briefly go over this. I do have a brand kit on Canva, so that's where you can plug your colors, your fonts, your logos, all of those things. So this is my Stewart title one. I can switch between different ones that I have uploaded in there. So maybe say you have a holiday color palette that you like to use every year. This would be a great place to log those colors to make sure that you never forget them. So say like for your brand specifically, we have the KW red, but you want to use like this deep hunter green for all of your like holiday content. Creating a brand kit for that would be a great way to make sure you save all those fonts that you love for the season, the colors you love for the season, and all that stuff. So you don't have to keep going back to content.
Can you show up just real quick where you start the setup of, I've got all my logos in and I've got, I've got a specific font that we use on certain things. So but I just don't know, how do I set up a brand kit?
Okay. You're just gonna go back to that home page.
Okay.
And then you're gonna click on this brand tab.
Yeah.
And then over here in this corner, you'll see this add new button. And you can create a brand kit from scratch.
Okay, so I've got, the brand kit and then I'm trying to see, add new, okay.
Yes. I'm just gonna create like a little.
And then name, I got you. Oh, okay.
And then once you create it, this is what it'll open up to. So you can upload your logos, color palettes, you can add new. So you can add a color based off that hex code that you can find. So say like you looked on Pinterest and you loved, and Pinterest is my best friend.
Okay.
And so is Canva. But that's where I find a lot of my color palettes is I'll look at holiday color palettes, just look that up on Pinterest and they have like already with the hex codes ready to go. So you can just easily plug those in there with that little hashtag number and it automatically populates it for you. So don't necessarily need this, but you can also drag and move it around to like that deep hunter green. Let's say
Christmas.
Exactly. So, and these are gonna be your fonts. This is where you can add all of them. So say for titles, you have a specific one, subtitles. This really takes you back to like, I was in yearbook in high school. So this takes me back to like all the stuff that we had to do in yearbook, like figuring out what our title fonts are, subtitles are. But once you have it plugged in, you can choose, if you know the name of the font, you don't have to go look search for it. Like if you consistently use it, like these are the fonts that I use a lot.
Yeah.
It's already populated in there for you. So if you know the font, you can just click easy. You can tell it what size, if you want folded, italicized, all
you
the
can
things.
really drill down on what that looks
Exactly.
like. It's okay.
And it makes it really easy for you when you are going to create that content because you can actually apply your brand kit and I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
So that way, all of those fonts, all of those colors, you find content that you love, the template's perfect, but you want to change it to you and not do that, click, change, click, change.
That's where I feel like that wastes so much time sometimes because you're just, and then you go search for that font. It's like, what was the name of that? Okay, let me go to this one. I know I created it here, but what was it?
Brand kits, game changer for that reason specifically, because it really is helpful in terms of time consuming stuff. like going in there and changing the title to your font and making sure it's the right size and all those things. And typically size of, words on content, it depends on what you're trying to get across. It truly depends on what the content is. But if you are, you just want to plug quickly, and like, you just want to apply your colors and your fonts, that's it. You'll tweak the little things. This is the easiest way to do that. And then down here, you can do, Magic Write has started this new AI brand voice. I personally have not ventured into this quite yet, but I'm interested to try it out because I think it's just a really cool AI feature. But photos, headshots, that kind of stuff. If there's any graphics that you've had created by maybe a graphic designer who did like, little keys for you or little, I know that's up in your logos, but this is just another way to store, like maybe there was elements that you had someone create.
Like things that you just use over and over
Exactly.
again.
Exactly. And then icons, again, same kind of thing, just a different place for you to put them. But all of those good things are up here, so you never have to worry about having to search for them again. And within a brand kit, you can actually add a folder. So say like, this is a brand kit for someone on your team, and then you have a certain person, like a certain brand kit per person. You can add folders of like, this is their open house content, this is their listing content,
Just
this is their
content.
exactly. So it makes it easy. Setting it all up is the hardest.
I was gonna say now.
Yeah.
Setting
it all up is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Once you've got it down, it's a system, so that way you don't have to worry about, okay, where did I put this? Because I'll put this in my just sold content. So
Yeah.
that way, and it's under like my holiday brand kit or my summer brand kit, whatever, however you kind of want to do that. I've seen a lot of agents that are taking advantage of like doing the seasons, messing with different colors, but like keeping a consistent brand color, which I'd love to see, because the more you play around with it, the more your personality shows through your social media.
It's noticeable too. I think it's instead of just the same.
Absolutely. So creating those brand kits would just make it easier on you to be like, okay, last summer I did this, I'm gonna straight back to this, we're gonna keep that consistent. So that way you're not having to find, the pretty pink and the pretty blue or whatever
Exactly.
colors you use, then you can just go ahead and plug in to be ready for that.
Oh my gosh.
Can you show us like on like the sample thing we just did, how to add your brand kit?
So when you go in, I'm actually gonna use a different template for that, because I want you to see like how it takes the fonts and all of that good stuff. So actually, I'm just gonna use an open house, because that's typically like a lot of people will use it for. So I am.
Thank you. That was getting me for my brain.
So for your brand kit, this is your color palette right over here. You just hit the shuffle button and it automatically applies to your pages.
Okay. And then if you hit shuffle again, it will do a little, it'll do
It'll
like
change
blue
it.
or.
So it changes that in there for you. And then. For fonts.
I'm sure I can sit here and play on this.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's like when you get into it, it's like.
And this is funny. So brand templates, like it'll go ahead, have a social media marketing business on the side. And so like, this is what it's showing you, like my cover letters, like things like that. It automatically creates things for you. You don't have to have it do that, especially in a real estate profession. It'll take and do so many random things. You're like, I don't need that. And work, but thank you.
Yeah.
So for your fonts, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna click on all of them. I forgot this wasn't an automatic feature. I forgot that. But you just click down here and it shows you your brand fonts. So you just click on it, it'll automatically change.
But there isn't there, it's not searching.
Exactly.
What's the name of it?
Exactly that. So you already got logged in here. It's just under a different folder. And it'll show you, you can even click to different brand kits if there's a different one you'd like to use. Like for my social savvy, these are my fonts. So I would just click, you just want to make sure everything's selected on the side, so that way you can just easily change everything that you want to.
So before, when you like the Stewart Title brand kit, was there an option for you to click like your social savvy or your other one?
Yes.
Can you show me that?
When you click on
I'm
this
very
little,
visual.
so when you click on this little brand kit option, it's right underneath your recommended fonts. So you can see like the document fonts recently used, it's directly underneath that. with brand kit. But mine says Stewart title because that's what I named it. I didn't name my social savvy one, so that's the only reason it's showing me brand kit.
Right.
So you can just click from any of the ones that you would like.
And then before that, when you're not doing your fonts, when you're just doing like your colors and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
or that,
So when you go ahead, when you're in the design already, you've selected your template that you want to use or whatever content you're creating, you just go right down to brand. And this is where you can find all of your stuff.
okay, so you would
change
click,
this.
oh, right there, you would.
Yes, yeah, you can change it with that little drop down option right there.
Cool.
We can just go in, select whatever you'd like. And if you have a like team Canva that everybody can get into, it's really good to tell them like, hey, just, everybody has a separate brand kit. Make sure if you're creating your own content, make sure you're selecting yours and not someone else's. Because then it can get stored in their folders and that can just get real confusing. So, yeah. A lot of crossover, which you don't really want. But that way you've got everything already stored on this little sidebar for you. It's got your logos, your fonts, color palettes, all of those things. And like I said, to change those colors, it's super easy. You just hit the shuffle button and it'll change from, obviously, there's not a lot of color.
Right, but
here, but you can see that it added that blue, it added the red line, it used the gray from the text. So just easy peasy. So that way you don't have to worry about going through and selecting the line and changing the color and selecting the background and changing the color. It's all just at your
And it's
fingertips.
consistent colors again with your brand, whether it's the blue square or the red square, but it's the consistent.
Yes,
Absolutely, yeah.
and I do teach a class on branding 101, and that's one of the biggest things is consistency in your content with fonts, colors, logos, elements, all of those things, because you want brand recognition when people see that. So being consistent with that is huge, which I love. Canva did not always have a brand kit. They introduced it, I think, a year ago now, but it's been one of the game changers that they've seen on their platform. They talk about it a lot. A lot of people have really, really loved this and utilized this, and I use it every day.
It seems like Canva from the very beginning, I mean, it was just a game changer. I mean, we've had it for several years and it's just, it's really amazing what you can do from the most simple to like just to a 10. I mean, it's really amazing.
It really is, and it makes content creation easy,
Yeah.
and that's the best part about it.
Bit of like
It's-
Adobe or like AI, and I've got a bunch of our stuff in AI from, but a little while back that we're still using,
Yeah.
but it's just so cumbersome to. I don't want it enough
Oh, yeah.
to utilize it, I just don't.
Canvas like an all-in-one.
That's what I mean, it's just.
100%.
This is kind of off topic, but it involves Canva. So we took our family photos and my daughter was like just not having it. She's 2. She's smiling in some, she's like not in the others.
Mhm.
And so like the family photo we have of my husband, myself and my son, it's like everybody looks great.
Yeah.
And then we have my daughter like. And so I took a picture of her
Mhm.
and used the magic erase and
Yeah.
the background filter to take away everything and then like slowly like just trace out her face and then like.
Yep.
Just made it perfectly on her body. And now she's smiling in the picture and nobody will know.
The best thing is that in Photoshop.
But yeah, I sent it to the people doing our family photos, like who are printing the cards and I was like, I need you to let me know what this looks like on your end.
Yeah, because of.
I can see it on mine, it looks good. And he was like, I would have never known if you hadn't told me that. And it's just like me like
It is the best.
tinkering with it just to make everybody look happy.
And that's what, I mean, like I said, when you do get with, the graphic designers that are so like on the like AI or Adobe side, Illustrator side, they just get so wigged out. When you talk to them, hey, can you just build that in Canva? It would be so much easier to use again, even if you're just, maybe saying, could you design a few things for me to use? It's just like, oh my gosh, they kind of lose their marbles because you're asking them to do it in Canva instead of Adobe and it's. Or Illustrator.
Something I did want to show y'all while we're in this kind of little tips and tricks part. So if you have a picture of a listing or an open house photo that you want to use and you would like to apply the colors from the photo,
This is fun.
you can actually do that. If you right click on the photo and
Yeah.
you hit say apply colors to page. Obviously, it's not, there's not a lot of elements, but it
Right.
takes a color from this actual image and will apply it
I
to.
think too, if you go to elements or somewhere, it shows you the colors. Or no, if you click on something to change the color, like if. And after you've done the, say, use the photo colors, it'll show you like a little row of colors
Oh,
to
yeah.
pick from. Yeah, where is that? That's
So
behind.
it's gonna be under, right over here.
Oh, there it
You
is.
can see both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always really.
Yeah, and that's cool that you can just go, oh my God, I like that one.
Right.
And yeah.
Exactly. Same feature as like applying colors to the page, but this one you actually get to be intentional with what colors you're using.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
that's kind of just if you're in a rush and you want to just grab from there. But I did the, so the magic erase and stuff, is in this edit photo area. So I use it all the time. So like, if I wanted to take out this little potted plant, it will do everything that takes people in Photoshop literally like forever to do. Sometimes it ends up great, sometimes it doesn't. Like, obviously, there's still something
Something.
there.
Yeah.
You just trace back over it and it will eventually delete
Yeah, you
it.
kind of have to like mess with it a little bit to
Just
see,
tinker with it just a little bit.
Yeah.
but no, it'll do
And
everything.
then can you go back and save that photo as like a super high resolution?
So you should be able to.
Like when you download, like just pick how big you want it to save as for like quality.
So if you go right over here, your download options are gonna be, you
Yeah.
can see what pixels you're downloading.
Yeah,
at
so it's okay, yeah.
For a PNG as well, so you'd be able to see what quality in terms of size. So it'll show you like, you kind of download it.
It takes the size for, like, it takes. Right?
Yes, because it's the Instagram post, it goes ahead and it downloads the highest resolution possible for
Instagram.
posts. But if you were like printing a mass canvas, you would want to look up
Okay.
what is the best resolution to
Okay.
download for this print size.
Okay.
It'll tell you in pixels what that would be. So that way you can download it that correct size, so that way it doesn't, look distorted or that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people when you're printing like, almost like banners or, the little, what do you call
Like
them?
maybe brochures or.
Yeah, that kind of
brochures,
stuff.
things like that.
Like just any print material, you always want to search or even ask the print company you're using, what's the best resolution I can
Yeah.
download this at in pixels?
Okay.
That we'll get the best product on your end. Some of them have different answers. So it's always good to just get in touch with them and ask. But you can go in, yes, and change that on here, which makes a huge difference depending on, what kind of look you're trying to go for. But for editors, I just wanted to pop into this really quick. So there's now this new option for Magic Expand. So I personally have let's attach this from the background. So if it's a background image, you can't expand it anymore because it's already set to the limits of the image. So we're gonna go to Magic Expand. And if you want it to take up the whole page, or if you want it to just be a little bit taller, it's gonna take all of that. It's gonna take all of the data of the image already there, and it's gonna populate more image for you. So if you get listing photos back and your pictures of the bathroom doesn't show all that you want it to show, you can now plug it into Canva and see if it will populate more of the bathroom for you in one image, so that way you don't have to do two.
How would it do that?
How does it know? That's what I was saying.
Yes.
How does it know?
It takes all of the data that's already in the image and just populates what it thinks would be there. So I will say,
AI.
sometimes, yes,
Yeah.
100%. Sometimes it's not accurate. So like for this one, y'all can see like the ground here, it doesn't match up. But like the house next door, that wasn't in the image really at all. So it just took the colors from the siding over here and over there and just created more of an image for you.
That does make a lot of sense because there are times, whether it's a print ad or doing something for or whatever, it's like when you double click and get your little squares, it's like you just can't get it to sit right, or it's too tight, or it's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's like there's not enough to give you the visual that you're
Right.
looking.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And, there's different options. So like that one didn't match up. Maybe one of these matched up better. You can always do cancel or generate new results.
Okay.
So, just a new option, which I think is, pretty interesting. But there's, when you're going to edit content, in terms of photos, you can find all of these things in here. So if you want to add filters, if you want to add effects,
That's what I just, I got this, I'm just. I don't know.
there you go. And the more you mess around with it, the better you'll understand it and be able to find these things easier. I personally don't use any of the filters in Canva, but I know people that do, like for presets to put across listing photos and stuff. Just because you want it to be a little bit brighter, a little bit of a different color, whatever.
That's magic grab.
So if you have a.
Does it grab elements? Or-
Yeah, so it's gonna take like this house and you'll be able to move the house, but just the house. So like that's the background.
Oh.
And now you're just able to take just the house. And that's the same thing with like background remover. So now like if I wanted to delete this, now I'd have just the house. But that's that magic grab. It'll take the biggest element, which.
This would be an example that you would use it for like a little sticker or I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like what you would conceptually use it for.
To be honest, I have not used it before.
Oh, okay. I was
I
curious.
think there's some value in it in terms of like, it's a cool concept, but. For the content we're creating, like on a daily basis,
It's not, okay.
I don't use it,
And then magic edit, I was just looking at that one, like.
yes, so that's where you can,
Hand with a rose and then
Mhm.
wow.
and you, so you can actually. So say I wanted to replace this pillow, so I'm actually. Just gonna click on those two things, you're gonna click this continue button, this is using AI, so I'm gonna say replace, with blue pillow. Takes it a second, but it will populate just as it did with the other one, when we did that. Magic expand, this is gonna populate those 4 different results for you. So as you can see, it changed the color, not the blue that I really wanted,
But it
but
gave you something,
it
yeah.
gave me something different, so that's definitely a different version, so same like. It really is good for listing photos, because say like you've got something in front and it just looks bad, you
Yeah.
can delete it and you don't have to send it back to the photographer, because those can cost hundreds of dollars a edit. And it's, yeah, it's a, yeah. So now you can go in and just click on something and either delete it, see if you can change it, and it's also great for, I'll show you guys really quick. I did this for my headshots. Which I don't think is in there. It was somewhere. So for my headshot, I used my photo and I asked it to give me a different color shirt, and it gave me a different color shirt. So like if you need like updated business cards and you're like, I'm wearing the same shirt, but
But my hair is
here.
gray.
My hair looks different, like a line up, whatever, you can ask Magic Bright to see if it will repopulate something different for you. So that way, you know, if you wanna use like a seasonal headshot where you've got a red shirt on, or whatever, it'll populate that for you. It just takes a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of time. But it's just one of those cool things that you don't have to spend forever in on Photoshop, and if you wanna be, you know, festive and cutesy, easily at your fingertips. Another really cool thing that I love to talk about with Canva is the option to bulk create. So, it's in your apps section down here at the bottom, so you will just click on, search, and you'll type in bulk create. And it's gonna be this first one with this little plus button, and it's already populated in the apps that I use, so I just like, it's this little plus button right here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's gonna be the first option for you.
Okay.
So when you go down into it, it'll say either enter data manually, upload a CSV, and there's more data sources. You can connect a couple different like Canva and ChatGPT now have a plugin. I have yet to figure out a really cohesive way to use it, but currently in the process, a little interesting because there's a couple tweaks that need to be added. But entering data manually, so say, you know, you want to send like a letter to everyone, you've already pre-typed up a template and you just wanted to send it out to all of your past clients. Like, hey, just wanted to send you a little thank you letter for trusting me with your real estate needs. I really appreciate it. If there's ever anything you need, let me know. You can plug in their name, your name, all of these different options, and it'll automatically populate all of that content for you. So I want to show you all an example.
So like personalized that you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
I was thinking like newsletter in my brain, like, oh my gosh, here's the newsletter, but then instead of
And you can do that too.
saying designing in Canva,
Yeah.
excuse me, instead of contact. You could send directly out from.
Yeah, well, there's a way to send, let me see.
Okay.
So you're gonna wanna have two different text boxes, that way you know the difference of like what you're plugging, and I just wanna see if I can show you. So we'll create enter data manually. So this is like your name, that way it plugs the name. It is tedious, you do have to type it in every time. So just, I recommend copying and pasting for as many as you want to send out. Just do this. It's really great for like a lot of, like not newsletters, I'm sorry, postcards and such, like if you're printing them directly from Canva and you want them all personalized, but you've made your template already, you just plug and select, so that way it cohesively populates that for you. So I'm gonna put this done button. So this is one of the elements. You're gonna right click on this and you are going to select. Where's my connect? See. I've never had it not work for me, and it's not pulling the connection data. I also have only ever done it through the CSV before, so I don't know why it's not showing me it. So typically, if it wanted to work for me, it would show you when you right click and you click those three little dots,
Mhm.
there's a way to connect the data. And that's over here, so that's why I'm like,
Okay.
I'm not really sure why it's not populating for me, because there's something in the table, but I usually do it through a CSV via Excel.
Okay.
So if you have a list of clients that you've worked with in the past and you want to send them like a, happy holidays letter or piece of content like this, and you just want to have it already pre-made, you've got those names in there, all that kind of stuff, you'll just create a copy of it, delete their emails, phone numbers, that kind of stuff, and just put their name and then your name. And when you upload it into Canva, you'll select wherever you want your client's name, those three little dots, connect that data, and it'll automatically pull or create all of that.
So as long
content
as your
for you.
Excel file or CSV file has client name for the column and my name for the column, you don't have to go in and find those particular field names. You just name them what you want to name.
It'll bulk create like 50 pieces of content for you. We did this for,
Wow.
my boyfriend's brother got married a few weekends ago, and I was in charge of the place cards.
Yeah.
Man, y'all, that was brutal.
So then is it, okay, so there's 50 people.
Mhm.
It dumps 50 of those like in a folder for you somewhere.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Say,
So if you want to download them individually, you want to print them off as PDFs and send them out. There's a number of different ways, but it's all in one piece of content. So that way you aren't looking for 50 different pieces of materials.
can you email them out directly through Canva? No.
You can schedule content through Canva, but you can't send it directly because it does have to download. It's like, because you can send a Canva template for people to view, or like you can send it as like a link to view on Canva.
Mhm.
But it's better to just download it and send it out, but you can't send directly from it. You
Yeah,
can
okay,
schedule
that's-
content and all that
okay,
stuff, but just not directly from the source. Yeah,
Okay.
but I think actually what I did wrong was I didn't name it.
That's what I was saying.
So,
You have to pick the building, or you just name it what you want to name, and as long as it matches up, it.
Connect data.
Yeah.
So client. And then me. So yeah, just make sure you name it.
Mhm.
Then you click continue. So these are all of it. Generate 3 designs. Sam Smith, Melissa West, Jody Olson. It's
Wow.
already plugged in there for you. I forgot about
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Peace, love, and joy.
I love that because you don't have to go in there and like find a field or, like say, okay, man, this name.
No,
like,
seriously.
this is what I want to name it. This is what I want to name it. It's like,
The easiest way with that now, since that was so simple to do, to make it as simple as that was, would be to just directly. Can you do like postcards through Canva?
You can, yeah, you
Yeah.
can print, they won't show you. That's the only downside.
Because it's like you said, it would be nice if we could just send it.
Mhm.
We'd have to download it all and then individually send it to each.
That's what I was thinking.
person.
It's almost like Canva and Constant Contact needs to. Yes.
Right, so actually something that I do for the clients that I work with is I do custom mailers, and the print company that I work with does the printing for you. So like if you have in the shipping for you for 68 cents a mailer, which is the cheapest you can find right now. But they already pre-print that name on there. So like say you have a list of clients that you want to send holiday cards to, if you just provide me with that list and say you've already created the design that you want, or that's something I do as well as I help create the designs. And you're ready to go, this is my list, this is whatever, all I would do is send that to my print company. They print it and they ship it within 3 to 5 business days, which is a very quick turnaround time. But it's all designs that I make in Canva. So all of the stuff that I make in here is the stuff that I use for my postcards. It's accepted. They print at the highest print quality, all that kind of stuff. So there is another step to it, but it's just an easier step on you guys for kind of it to be someone else's job, if that makes sense. So
Do you have a personal website that offers what your services are or?
I do not. So I work for Stewart Title.
Right, that's because I didn't want to like cross
No, you're
the
good.
boundaries there, so.
In terms of like what I can do as a rep,
Yeah.
there is a line between what I'm allowed to do and what I can do. So in terms of like print marketing and stuff, I just play middleman. So I'm happy to help orchestrate all of it and help you build it. I just won't cover any of the print costs.
Right.
That's the only thing. So I'll help you create it. I'll help you, figure out your farm list, or if you have a list of clientele that you would like to send it out to. You just provide me with all that. I play middleman with the print company. I get everything ordered, and then it's just you're taking care of the costs.
Do you offer any services like just as a freelance or outside of your?
So
Your-
I,
your
because of
role,
my role, I'm allowed to.
Okay.
I actually had that conversation with my boss just the other day, because I do have a social media marketing, like, kind of startup going, and he
Yeah.
was like, remember, in title, there's certain things you can't do.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
was
I'm
like,
saying.
so yeah, it's just one of those things where the third party unbiased, if we don't want to step on any toes, but I love to help with that kind of stuff, social media marketing, video marketing. I teach classes on it. I do one-on-ones with that kind of stuff in terms of like how to do captions correctly. How do I figure out what is engaging content? How do I figure out how my content is doing? Digital and social media marketing are my 2 like biggest things. Digital media pro-com major in college, so I take what I learned there and apply it into this industry, which they teach it for like big brands. So taking it from like it's very interesting, but it's great that you can take away so much from what they do for big brands for entrepreneurs as well. So there's a lot of benefit in like those YouTube videos you see about how to build my brand and all those things, just finding the little nuggets of knowledge within it for your brand specifically can be a little time consuming. So
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What did you type in there in the search for the bulk?
So if you go down to apps right down here,
Oh,
yeah, and you'll just type in bulk create, and it should be that first option for you. Yeah, and apps is where you can actually find a lot of really cool things. I don't know if y'all play
Yes,
around in it.
I recognize a couple, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
So, there's a lot of plugins in here with ChatGPT, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. I don't use a lot of the plugins, but that's just me because I use Canva for kind of a one-track thing. But you can even do like, there's ways to do, change your headshot in here with Headshot Pro.
I just saw that headshot
And there's ways like change images in terms of quality, like say you had a blurry photo and now it'll like unblur it for you. Sometimes it completely distorts the image, I'm just gonna be so honest, but sometimes it doesn't, and it's really helpful.
like if you have something kind of low res and you're like, okay, just Use it up just so I can use it appropriately. Okay.
Exactly. And sometimes, like I said, it will completely distort the image, but sometimes it won't. So like this is blurry and it upscaled the image.
Tighten it up.
Exactly. So just a couple,
And that one was, which one was that?
that was enhancer.
Enhancer, okay. Got
And one of the really cool things,
it. So was that an app or just a
it's an app, yes.
feature? Okay. I
Yeah,
was
so it's an
kind of-
app within Canva, but one of the really cool things that I love to use is, where did it go?
And it's just called enhancer?
Yes.
Oh. Let me just search for it.
Oh,
Oh, there it is. So I'm assuming that these are like add-ons to Canva that some are free, some are not free. Is that kind of the deal?
Mhm. Majority of them are free if you have a pro account, but some of them do like ask you to like subscribe or that kind of stuff, but it's the ones that, you know, when people really, really use this for their day-to-day lives, like for, their actual like careers and such, I'm sure they would get more use out of like the apps and features, but this is just a cool add-on for us in
Okay.
our industry, because there's so many different things that we can utilize, but not like rely on, if that makes sense.
Okay.
There was, I can't find it, but it's an AI. It's a Panda. Well, let's get right. So Magic Media, they changed the name, so you can actually create content based off of what you ask it to create it for. So I'm gonna do, I actually did a while back, I did a Barbie dream house, but like realistic version. And I posted on Instagram, it's all AI created. It's like I did like a real life Barbie dream house. So I'm just gonna show y'all Barbie.
Okay, so this is in what again? Magic
Magic Media.
Media.
So, and you can also do different styles. You can say, film style, you can do watercolor, anime, dreamy. I'm just gonna do none, so it's just a regular, it'll generate like a regular image, almost like a photograph.
I want to just stay up all night now. It's like it just.
So there's certain trigger words, like it says Barbie may result in content that doesn't meet their policies.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say real life,
Eat dream house.
there you go.
Right.
It was actually really cool creating all the stuff for like my Barbie dream house, because I asked ChatGPT describe all of the rooms in a Barbie dream house and how I could use AI to like generate the images. And it literally did all of it for me. So obviously there's some distortion, there
Yeah.
are pink trees, I don't know what that's about, but this one, a little bit better,
Yeah.
still a little bit of distortion.
Yeah,
But for what we're using it for, like, it's pretty cool that it just took that out of thin air and just.
and so here's your pink house and
Literally.
wow.
But it's just something really cool that you can mess around with and play with. And it's good for like engaging content on social media, because everybody is like AI, they're either really for it or like they're really against it. And it's interesting to create conversations. You're like, do you think this was AI generated or not? And kind of like getting your followers engaged in that way can be a
Gosh.
little.
It's like, it's almost like a love-hate relationship, I think, as we move into the future, because I just saw I don't know, I can't remember which station it was on, but it was showing obviously how it showed like a movie star guy. And just that it showed him giving this presentation about something so like uncomfortable, but it was just, it's just like, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love AI
Yeah, but
for it's a lot and it.
For the
and-
creative side of things,
Right.
but on the other side of the spectrum, it's like,
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
nerve-wracking.
a little bit, yeah.
For
But yeah,
sure.
it's stuff like this, it's like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use it for good. I do.
Yeah, no, it's
Some
just-
people don't, and that's the scary part
Yeah.
of it. And this was just in a different style.
But gosh, I mean, I can think of so many things like in real estate, when you're thinking of like, you would love to make a post about, maybe something about the interest rates, and it can just be like, I've designed a cool red and black interest rate reduction, or, you know, something like
Yeah.
that, and it's like, boom, you're not searching through 82,000, you know, graphic, you know, little graphics within Canva.
Mhm.
You could just go in there and say, you know, do something, and it would be interesting to see, like.
I don't see the podcast.
Yeah, I'm saying, to be curious to see what it does with something very, like, feet on the ground, like.
Yeah. I've also never things that could populate the guy the photograph.
I mean, it's-
So that's a little interesting.
yeah,
This could be a cool background or something.
yeah, like I say, it's not awful.
You could even like, for say, you know, you set this as the background, you can take the transparency way down and you could apply your photo here, you can add text in the back, but it's just a cool background.
Yeah,
Already, you know, populated for you. We'll say the text being, that's interesting, but, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, wow.
But yeah, those little elements in there, and there are certain elements that you can apply your colors to, but some of them don't allow you to change the color, some of them do, so something to note there, but. Yeah, Canva has, you know, a million different things that you can just play around with. There's literally so much. If you ever want to deep dive into the apps on Canva, there's. a
That's where
million-
it's just like, it gets like,
Yeah.
not crazy, but just like, wow.
No, seriously,
Blow your socks off.
it's wild out there, but the AI image generator, which is that Magic Media, it's actually already built into Elements. So you'll just click generate your own.
Mhm.
So that way.
Okay, so whatever you searched up there,
Mhm.
okay, you could say, just like whatever I search for, just generate it right there.
Yeah, so you just make sure you click on it.
Yeah.
And then it'll go ahead
And there
and
it
take you
is.
back to this Magic Media, but it's already
Okay.
built into the Elements tab, so you don't have to go search for it. Which makes it super helpful if you ever need to, you know, just immediately jump into it. You know it's underneath that Elements tab and you can play around with it there.
Oh, yeah, is that Try Magic Design, turn your ideas and stuff right
Yes.
now?
Mhm. Easy peasy.
Okay.
Questions about other?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you go to like download it,
Mhm.
what's your like most efficient way to posting onto your platforms? Do you schedule or do you download, send it to yourself, like?
So I download and I schedule in Meta. I do everything through Meta for my business personally. Just because I think it's easier. The scheduling on Canva can be very confusing because you can log into so many different accounts and that just gets a little much for me. I'd rather have it through Meta because I know it's directly posting to the platforms that I want it posted to.
It's
Sometimes,
pretty good too. I mean, you can go back like 8 months ago. Oh, I love that wording I used for that sold property. What was that wording that I used? And copy paste and you're, yeah.
I love that. For sure. So I'll just download directly to my computer and then go immediately into Meta and schedule. I like to monthly schedule if I can. I do a lot of reels, so typically I don't schedule my reels. I just try to find time. Typically, I'm in my car for majority of my reels, just in between appointments where I'm just like, all right, I'm film here and that's what's happening.
Yeah, and then you just post them like on the fly.
Yeah. And for like content creation in terms of, you know, monthly content or things that I want to like schedule post, it's typically informative and educational stuff. Like, you know, we had talked about doing like a 24-day countdown, but like title terminology. I would say that's the cutest thing.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's good. I like it.
it's
That's a great idea.
like as like a low key, but also informative and educational
Yeah.
Christmas countdown. We had talked about doing that, and that's the kind of content that I would pre-schedule and just download from.
It's a nice little consistent every day.
Exactly. And that's the greatest thing about it. Like if y'all, you know, you'd be surprised the general public does not understand a lot about real estate. You can really take all of the stuff that we know in the back of our hand, ask ChatGPT, create me 30 days of content using real estate terminology, simplified so the general public can understand. It will literally take exactly what you said and create you 30 definitions. And you just plug those into an Excel spreadsheet, and then you plug that Excel spreadsheet into Canva, and it will populate those designs for you. Easy peasy.
I played with ChatGPT a little bit, like on a couple of letters where I
Yeah.
got stuck on something and I thought, I don't know what to say this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I'm getting there.
There's also, in Canva, if you, have ever been into Doc. So it's,
Right.
yeah, Magic Write is also one to utilize. So you just click this little plus button.
Okay, what was that?
But when you go to the homepage,
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that too.
you just click Doc and you click Start Writing and it'll open.
Oh, okay, I see. Right there, okay.
And there's a little button,
Mhm.
you can do magic right, you can design things.
What's yours? What's your email?
I do not have my on me.
Okay.
It's madison.west@stewart.
Thank you so much, Madison.
Yeah, I saved the little, oh, there it is. It just gives your, it just gave you name, but is it, what is it again, Madison?
West.
Oh, okay, I've got to go run and grab those arriving at you, so I'm gonna get back to my desk, though.